We have discussed what Donald Trump can do to make sure that he does get reelected. Now let's shift gears a little bit, because a lot of our fans out there who are
more conservative about
it. Yeah, they're kind of worried. They don't think this is a slam dunk, and they're looking at ways in which they think Donald Trump will lose. What do you think?
Interestingly, I just saw a poll. I can't remember who did it. That I was quite surprised. Said most voters think that Trump will win re-election.
Yeah,
but it's only like 56. Not terribly high. That being said, there are totally reasonable doubts that Trump will not win the 2020 election, because if you focus on the Democrats and who they are, it doesn't look very good. But if you focus on Donald Trump, there's also very fair criticisms that he very well, because he's Donald Trump, may lose the presidency.
Okay.
But there's also a third category. There's also forces that Trump has no control over that very well may tank him. And we'll do a few episodes, but I think the biggest one that they should be concerned about is the economy.
Okay.
And specifically, the media is pumping this up. I think the first person I can remember encouraging this to happen was Bill Maher. Said that we need a recession to happen. Sorry for all the people.
Well, he was praying for a recession to happen.
Yes, the atheist. Yeah, that atheist was praying for a recession.
Right. Make people miserable. Let's make everybody miserable and lose all their money. They can't buy food. They can't. Yeah, and that's. But it's justified because we're going to get rid of Trump.
Now, just from an economic standpoint, just as we have a great economy right now, but the fact is, because of our system of printing money, we have inflation, we have recessions. We have market corrections. That's just the natural, because we've decided to print money, we have a Fed.
Right.
We're just going to have recessions, and we have to deal with that fact.
Right.
So, no, even if you're the most perfect person running the economy, there still will be downfalls of our economy.
Well, I've been reading some articles about this exact point, and some of the articles that I've been reading indicate that Trump is the very first president that actually is responsible for the economy. Heretofore, popular wisdom was that there's very little influence that any sitting president really has on the economy. They take credit for it when the economy is up, and they catch blame and grief and shade whenever the economy goes down. But these economists that I've been reading from the Wharton School, by the way.
Trump's school.
Trump school, but now also from Oxford and Cambridge. Some European economists are saying that because Trump is going after China, this is we should do a whole podcast on the China issue.
Oh, definitely.
I've got a video I'm watching right now with Steve Bannon on the China. But because here's the theory: because Trump is going after China, okay. And China is trying to do three things all at once, which no other nation has ever tried to do. Is trying to push America back to Guam in the Pacific. Okay, that hasn't happened until the Japanese tried that, and you saw how that worked out. All right, that didn't work out too good. The second thing is the economy trying to freeze the United States out of the markets in the Orient. And they're doing that. They're doing that by buying up so many companies and buying up so many avenues of markets. They're actually buying out the markets. For instance, General Motors. I don't know if you noticed it, but General Motors has moved 2 of their factories to China, and Trump is really pissed off about that because he wants to be going the other way. He wants the Chinese to put the factories here. So you're right. You're right. If there is a recession, which there probably will be, as you point out, the natural cycle of things is that, it's a pendulum. It swings back and forth and up and down. That's the way things are. Markets are very insecure things, and they react to war, they react to natural disasters, and they react to civil unrest. Those are the 3 big things that trigger recessions. So you're right.
Okay. Well, here's another thing that allegedly triggers recessions. There's very, very policy wonky people talk. I'll keep it very straightforward and remove as much technicality as I can. There's this thing called the inverted yield curve. And it's very difficult to understand, so I'll basically say what it means. When it shows up, it usually is a forecast for incoming recessions.
Right.
And it has showed up. And so I read this one article, which you can read for yourself on cbns.com, which talks about the fact that it's shown up is an indicator that that there will be it probably will be a recession coming up. Now, when a inverted yield curve does show up, on average, economists and there also is a recession following it. On average, there's a space about 22 months, and it is right around election. If you do 22 months after when it most recently showed up, which is like between the last now and a few months ago, that's after election day.
Right.
So if this inverted yield curve does demonstrate that there will be a recession, on average, the recession will happen after Trump is elected. However, everything I said is still very much subject to debate because.
Right. Well, I think the best way, besides the economy, besides praying and hoping and trying to create a recession and a destruction of the American economy, which Bill Maher and the far left are trying to do, there are some other things that Trump's opponents can do. If you'll notice, Mitt Romney now is sided with the Never Trump squad.
Oh, just now, huh?
No, but okay. So what are they doing? One of the things they're doing is they're trying to cause civil unrest over the immigration thing at the border. That's the main reason why the Democrats are so pressing this issue about the border, is because that creates civil unrest, and that makes the president look bad, makes the country look bad, and it depresses the economic markets, by the way. They don't like bad news. Markets don't like bad news.
That's the other reason. I mean, people are less likely to invest and be spending their money if they think it's on the horizon. Therefore, it's great to report it's on the horizon. Even if it's not on the horizon, they can make it be on the horizon.
So far, these schemes have not worked out too well because the economy is so robust, thanks to the policies of the first bit. And people say to me, well, what did he do to stimulate the economy? He lowered the taxes of workers.
He also has been deregulating.
Yeah. And that created more jobs. So
the
more
corporate tax rate. Hello, that.
Right. So if you're going to take Trump down, you have to do what you were saying about creating a recession. You got to create a recession, or you got to create civil unrest at the borders. All right. Or you have to actually start a war. That'll bring Trump down. However, even that's not a foolproof. See, all these schemes are not necessarily foolproof. They all have.
I mean, but nevertheless, it is a possibility that people need to consider.
Yeah.
Is that if it is just a market correction, which is completely normal, I wouldn't think that's a reason to vote against Trump. Right. However, just because the population is wrapped up in hysteria rather than what the facts are, they're very likely to be very short term and think, oh, well, the economy is going through a 1 week, 2 week slump during election time. Therefore, I guess, this Democrat who got nominated is more likely to preserve the economy. So I'll switch my vote to that.
Karl Popper, the philosopher of science, Karl Popper, he has something he calls the falsification theory. And the basis of the falsification theory is if you're looking for causes, you will find causes. If you're looking for trouble, you will find trouble. If you're looking for a recession, you will find a recession. That's how we calculate how can systems fail. Systems can fail if they can be falsified. In other words, if I can imagine how something would be false rather than striving to prove that it's true, if I turn around and say, hey, I'm going to prove it false, you get a whole different spin on it. And that's the problem that Trump's enemies face right now. Because everything right now is going his way. The G7 meeting, he just left the G7 meeting. Boris Johnson
even things he has no control over are going his way.
No, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's a good point that you just made. Even things that he doesn't control and can't control,
Right.
are going his way. Yeah.
I think that sows enough
Right.
seeds of doubt. Moral of the story is, for all you hardcore Trump supporters, do not be overly confident.
No, because this could
And
all
we
blow up. This could
and
blow
we,
up in your
we, we
face.
got a lot more to talk about in the future, so stay tuned.
Right.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Make sure to become a PayPal Patreon or just a Patreon. We'd really appreciate you guys.
All right.
But
I'll
we
get
still
back,
do anyway.
get back to your class on economics at George Mason University.
Yeah. I love you.
Bye-bye,
too, Paul.
Alex.
See ya.